welcome.
All right, guys. It seems like Mel has accidentally muted his microphone.
All right. Thanks again for coming back on a Thursday. This is a sketch up on the experience. We just got back from Calgary. We had a good time there. But tonight we've got a special episode. There is going to be a ton of art. So hopefully you guys have got deep pockets today. But tonight we have AC Canales, Don Aguillo, Thomas Doherty is back, and Fang Fang, fan favorite, is also back. We haven't seen her in a while, so we'll be catching up with her. And you'll get to see them all right after this short station break. All right, welcome back, everybody. Glad to see everybody here. There's a lot of things going on this weekend. It's the big free comic book day that everybody's been waiting for. And so let's start out and find out where everybody's going to be. AC Canales, where are you going to be this weekend?
Oh, there's so many great places in the Denver area, but this weekend I'll be at Vault 35 in Colorado Springs at Chapel Hills Mall. They're a new store. They've been open just for, I think this is their second free comic book day there. I was there at the first one, and cool. I'll be back for this one.
And we'll be getting back to AC to find out what his current projects are as well, on top of all that. We also have Don Aguillo.
Hi, guys.
How you doing, Don?
I'm great. I'm really excited to be here. This is the first of these I've ever done, so thanks for having me.
So we're going to break that cherry there for you. So are you going to be are you appearing anywhere for this weekend?
I'm thinking tabling at King Kong Comics over in Dublin, California. But I'm preparing for a trip, so that may or may not happen depending on how well I do this week. End of this week.
Okay, all right. And then we also Thomas.
Yes. I don't know. I wasn't actually planning. I was planning on stopping at some stores, but I'm not actually setting up or doing anything in conjunction with any stores. But I'm in the Seattle area, so chances are I'll probably stop by. There's a store up in Linwood, Washington, called Subspace Comics. That's run by one of the original founders of Emerald City Comic Con, Brian Meredith. So he usually has a whole bunch of different artists and a sale usually going on Free Comic Book Day. So I do know that Tony De La Cruz is going to be up there. I think Sean Dietrich might pop by. I'm not 100% sure exactly how many people they've got going up there, but they usually have a whole slew of people and they have a whole big, circus. So
right,
we might pop there for a little bit. Who knows?
Okay,
Who knows?
Okay. And we also have Fang Fang. We haven't seen her in a while. She was able to stay in the country, so we're happy for that. Where are you going to be at this weekend, Fang Fang?
I would be Santa Monica Library for the book day. I didn't know this day. It's a national thing.
Yeah, this is Free Comic Book Day, and this is something that's been going on for a while now. It was a way to kind of to help revitalize the industry and the market, to get people interested in comics again. So the comic book stores, they hand out there's a stack of free comics that people can get, and they don't have to pay for it. They don't have to buy anything. Just show up and pick them up. For us, for Mog and I, we're going to be at Comic Bug. This is our second year going there. This is it's owned by a good friend of mine that I've known for decades. June, his name is June Goku. But also with Mog, they will also have Danny Miki, Norm Rapman, Don Walker, Zach Kaplan, Ryan McCarthy, Marcus Newsom, Sable Nance, David Marino, Don Ho, David Prepos, Corey Tran, and Don Nguyen will also be there for Sunday. Right?
Are they just going to take up the entire street, just put everybody down the entire city block?
They actually have a second room that they use to play Magic and all the games. So they've got a lot of room to have in there.
I've been at that store. It's a great store. It's a great store.
And
Amazing.
And the line is crazy. The line is going to start outside. It goes practically around the block for people to get their stuff. But Jun brings his whole family there. There's about like 7 of them, and they all help out on that day to process everybody and get everybody through there. So it is a big event. But we've done appearances for Free Comic Book Day at 4-Color Fantasy. That's another good one here. That one's actually closer to where I live. That's only like 10 minutes from where I'm at. And they did invite us. They did invite us as well, but June got to us first. We've done appearances at Frankincense. That's another good good location. But the only time they have it is when I ask them to do it. So I'm thinking about maybe I'll do one next year, because you kind of rotate the spots that you go to and stuff. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. There's a lot of great places. Collector's Paradise is another good location out here. So yeah, there's quite a bit. All right, so we've got. If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that follow button so that way we can continue to bring you these wonderful shows that the Experience brings you every week, like Nick Barucci's The Original Art Show that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And in today's giveaway, I'm giving away a set of How I Became a Shoplifter. This is written by Tom Brayfogle. It is a set of 3.
Oh, I didn't know there was a 3rd issue. I've got the first 2.
Yeah, there you go. That's all 3 right there.
Nice.
So if you want to get in on that, let's put in #EXP Shoplifter, and that'll get you qualified to get that be in the drawing for those free comics, and we'll do that towards the end of the show. Okay, so we got that out of the way, and now AC. What I find interesting is that you came up, you were trying to get into comics, and I guess you were having like a difficult time, so you started your own studio.
Well, all right. So my name is AC Canales. AC is short for Anibal Canales. Anibal is Hannibal in Spanish. Hannibal has one quote, and it's a quote that I take very seriously. He says, "We will find a way, or we will make one." Hannibal is the general that crossed the Alps on elephants to get to Rome. So, nothing I'm doing is anywhere near that cool, but it's it's an inspiring thing. Ian Chase Nichols, who has drawn The Tick, who has drawn Batman and Ninja Turtles, he was sort of a mentor to me a few years back, and I'd see him at Colorado Springs Con every year. And he said, "Look, man, you're in your 40s. Marvel's not going to think of you as the hot young artist, up and coming that's setting the world on fire. If you want a comic book, make a comic book. And if you have enough of a following, Marvel and DC and whoever will come to you." So what I did was I partnered with Vision Comics and Oddities. My friend Chris Lanham owns that store, and he said, "Dude, I'd love to have a comic for the store, and I'd love to have local artists involved." So I'm the editor for Vision Comics Presents, and I scout talent around Denver, and I give them their first published work. Everyone who creates in that book keeps everything they create. You have complete ownership and complete rights to all of your work. It's yours. You can reprint it. And that's what happened to me. After I did enough pages, I realized, hey, I could do my own comic at this point. So instead of, sharing with everybody and helping fellow artists come up in Denver, I put my pages together, made my own comic book, and that's how things started. The work was already done. Why not use it? Why not get it out there? I've been very blessed with that. I've met so many great people. Tim Moret has given me a ton of opportunities. Thanks to him, I've met Faces by Raichi, and I've licensed my book to them. I've had other people put covers on my book, and
cool.
Pay me for that. So I make, I get to make money off my book. I get to make money off someone else's work as well. So what is there to complain about? It's a great start.
No, I know you're doing pretty well. I've seen the action that you're in, and you're pretty you've got a pretty good demand there. So that's great to see. It is tough to get a start here, and it takes a while. People they've got to get to know you. They want to see the work. They want to know that you're dependable. Not everybody comes in and then just gets a nice solid gig right away.
Yeah, I mean, the industry has also like drastically changed. In the past
definitely
10 years, even as easy as 5, just since pandemic, everything's changed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, people talk about like the late 60s and the 70s, and it was like, yeah, you could literally take a self-addressed stamped envelope, mail it into Marvel, they'd send you back a $20 check, and they'd print your story.
Wow.
That's how. I mean, that's technically how Shooter got started. How Jim Shooter got started.
Yeah.
He sent in a fan letter to DC a story for Legion of Superheroes, and they bought it.
And he was a prolific writer. He just kept sending them in.
I mean, it helps that he started that. I think he was 16. I think he lied and told them that he was 18, but I think he was 16 when he got his first story published.
Nice.
So.
It's hard to do that these days. That path
you got to do it yourself. The way you did it, AC, is like super smart. Like you partnered, you utilized other people, you created your own stuff as well, and then when when the group did enough content, you're like, hey, look over there.
And it's so good, man. I'm not the only one. Joe Rollman, who is a fantastic artist, dear friend of mine, another traditional artist, does a lot of acrylics. He is at this point putting together his collected works that he owns, that he has full rights to, and he's talking to one of the Western museums in Colorado about having his book for sale at the museum. It's
nice.
Western themed stories. Another friend, right, that makes sense. Another friend of mine, Matt Gonzalez, he does a random corn guy who is just a silly character that a lot of people find hard to forget, and he took the pages that he'd already made, added some more. He came to me and got a little bit of advice, but took off on his own. We've already had 3 people take off from having 4-page stories in a heavy metal anthology style format for the book, so that everybody can try something new. If you want to have a continuous story, you can. If you want to do a one shot, you can, but you can test out your limits. You can try new things. We've got artists that used to work for EverQuest that did key art for them that are trying to branch out into comics and try something new. And this gives them a chance to do that. And it's been a very good springboard, man. And if I were trying to do a whole comic on my own, who knows how long it would take. But, what is it? What was a quote from Caesar from Planet of the Apes? One twig strong, many twigs much stronger.
Right.
So when there's 5 of us putting out a comic book every couple of months, I don't have to kill myself to work my day job, my Clark Kent job, and try to make this happen. Everybody puts in a little bit of that work. We get our 28 pages. Chris finances us from Vision. He supports the local art scene. And because of that, we get books out. We do release signings so people get familiar with that situation, that scenario, and it's wonderful. And then people have printed work they can take with them to conventions. You're not just selling prints, which hey, I did that for 10 years. 10 years of work to become an overnight sensation, whatever.
That's pretty much the MO in the comic book business. I mean, that's what it takes.
I want to say hi to James Doppelhammer, who's in the chat there. You're going to be seeing him in a couple of weeks. We're going to have him on the show. Stevie B, great to see you. Space Case Collectibles, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Kenneth Bird, always a joy to see you too. Who else do we have? Jess Cruz is here tonight. Steve Vendetta, all the way from Canada. I still got to contact you on that. Helix Black is here. Pastor Michaels, all right. So we got some really active crowd here. Monumental Comics, thanks for joining us. All right. And AC, what are you going to be drawing for the live auction today?
Well, a friend of mine told me about these nice markers from Amazon. They're acrylic, and they're very similar to the Sharpie creative markers, similar to Posca's. And I've got a nice black piece of paper, and I thought it'd be nice to do a Dr. Doom, try out the new gear, see how it works.
Yeah.
All right. Dr. Doom is a good character. And your starting bid is?
We're going to start at 50. I know you guys have all been on board for a while. Everybody knows you. Everybody knows the value. I've got to prove myself, so we'll start off low and see what we can do.
Well, sometimes when you start off low, it still can go pretty high. Now, you've also brought some additional pieces with you. What do you have?
Yeah, so I've got three things to show off here. One of them is a blank cover. I love these, and I love gargoyles. So hopefully you
Ooh,
can
nice.
see Goliath on here.
Mm-hmm.
Also done with opaque Poscas to be able to get that onto the purple paper. This is Selena, and I think if
Nice.
you look in the background, you can kind of see the little Easter egg of the buildings looking like the Catwoman ears.
Okay, cool. Let's go back to the Goliath. What are you asking for that?
I would like to start it at 175.
Okay, 175. Now, are you putting that as a claim, or is that going to be a bid?
I mean, we could start at 175, and if we only get one, that's fine.
All right, so we are going to put it out as an auction. Okay, now you got Selena.
Yeah, Selena Kyle, but this piece is called Acquisition, so it's actually part of a couple of pieces that I did in a sort of a sequence, but you know, it's all about characters that have a hole inside them that is impossible to fill, and the ways that we try to fill it. So hers is wealth. That's one way a lot of people try to fill the hole in their soul is putting something in there that makes you feel good in the moment, but may not be the thing that actually sustains you.
Okay, and what do you want to start that at?
That's 350. That has been featured at Ink Comic Gallery in Denver, the most well-known and I think the only official comic art gallery for original comic art in Colorado. Yep, it is. The person who runs that is Tim Bentley. It is called INK Gallery, and it is on 6th and Santa Fe or Calumet. But first Friday, Denver has a great art scene, so people come down Santa Fe, go through all the galleries, and now there's a comic art gallery featuring this.
Cool.
I'm hoping I'll have a chance to check that out this time when we're there for a fan expo, because I wanted to go there last year because that's when they opened up, but
we
it
opened
just
with
wouldn't
Jock.
fit into my schedule. Hopefully we can do that this year.
Yeah, it looks like it's not that. I mean, it's a little bit of a distance, but not super far away from the convention center.
Right.
So,
actually, you know, I mean, it's about half an hour walking, but it's about a 5-minute Uber. So it's a great place to go after the show to check it out. When they opened last year at Denver Fan Expo, Jock was the guest.
Oh, nice.
So people were bringing their detective comics to have him sign. They were buying some original art. And I was featured in one of the side rooms. I did a year later, this April, I had my own showing, so I had my own spot there.
Very cool.
And you also have, did you already show Evil Lynn?
Oh, I did not. And I realized she's downstairs, and I'll have to get her. But in the meantime,
do you have the Carnage piece with you there?
Yeah,
do you have Carnage?
Okay, and what are you asking
acrylic.
for that one?
This one's 300.
Okay, 300.
Yeah, it was also featured in the art gallery, so you know you
All
can.
right, so
you
if
can
you
own
want
a
to
piece.
bid on any of that, you can go ahead and do so in the comments, right? And if you do become a winner, we're going to have you fill out a form so that way you know exactly who gets that, and we're going to pass that information on to the artists so they can contact you directly and handle everything between the two of you. All right, let's move over. Let me put you on the side a little bit there, AC, and let's go to Don Aguillo. Right.
Yes.
And Don has we got about I want to do something. Let's just show what you have, Don, and then when we come, we're going to take a short break after this, and we come back, we'll get back to you and we'll talk more with what you have and what you do. So first of all, what are you drawing for the live auction?
I am working on Edward Scissorhands. So past year, I'm sort of to.
Can you show what you have so far on it?
Yeah, I have to do that. It's a big one.
Wow. Oh, are you doing watercolor?
I'm attacking it with liquid charcoal, actually.
Nice. Very cool.
So, to personally combat AI this year, I'm returning to traditional craft. I'm training oil painter, but no one has space, or I don't have money for that.
Yeah, oil's a little tough.
What are you asking for that, Don?
I'm gonna start at 150 for auction.
150. Okay, and then you also had a couple of other pieces as well, right?
Yeah, I got some small mixed media pieces. I got a Harley Quinn here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it's matted with some Harley comic art that I kind of patched together.
That's a cool idea. I like that matting.
Yeah, I like digging through dollar bins, so it's looking for art in there.
Yeah,
got a ton of extras. So.
Okay. And what are you asking for that one?
150 is my lucky number.
Starting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other piece you have.
And then I got beat Spawn, just
Spawn, which is something that you do very well.
I do a lot. I certainly do a lot of it.
You do a lot, yeah. You do a lot of covers, Spawn covers, pretty much the whole gambit of the McFarlane line.
Yeah, I'm grateful for it. So, got to throw them in there.
Do you have that to show?
Sorry.
Spawn one?
What's up?
Do you have the Spawn one to show?
Oh yeah.
Okay, there you go. And what do you want to start on that?
Same thing, 150.
150. Okay, there we go. All right, so I thought I was going to go on break. Apparently not. And Don, you almost started almost the same way as AC. You started your own studio as well.
Yeah, I started my own studio after the same way I had to start my own book. I got the same advice.
Yeah, you did your own book as well.
Yeah, so I was like a flageling writer, or at least I had a story to tell. I wasn't a writer then. I got it out. So I made the same kind of mistakes you make at the beginning. You go all out on the art, and then the writing's overdone, and then it comes to art, and it's all sorts of problems right there at the beginning. But
yeah, it's part of the learning curve that we all go through.
Yeah.
And like what Tom said, the market has changed. Before the thought of even doing your own comic book before wasn't something that we would think about. We'd go through the regular process of going to showing our work to a publisher and seeing if they'll go ahead and take it.
Well, yeah, because there wasn't options to print your own book back in the day. I mean, the minimums on printing a book was incredibly ridiculous. So, nowadays you can print 100 copies and, go and sell those. And when you sell out, you can print 100 more. So, that's nice. So,
I want to thanks to the lieutenant for placing the first bid on the Spawn for Don. So we got that first bid in there.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I know, Steve. I make everybody hungry. I'm always eating during the show. But this is nothing special. It's just ramen. I cooked really quick. Just didn't have a lot of time to do those nice cookings that I can do.
That's just it. You say it's nothing special, but we all know how you cook. So
right, yeah. So it's like I'll take your basic ramen any day of the week. Thanks, Mel.
Oh yeah, it's hard. It's just hard for me to do something that's kind of simple, and I don't know. I just like adding more flavor and stuff like that. But anyway, so now tell us how you got onto doing the Spawn covers. How did that come about?
Well, I was listening to AC talk about the evolution through the years of exposure and how people get into the business. I mean, this is literally, I guess, Todd kind of scrolling through his phone and going through Instagram. So resources have changed over time, and we all have more passive ways of getting our work out there. And I was just grateful that he doom scrolled onto my Instagram and worked. And having listened to a bunch of interviews from other people who've gone through the same thing, he does this to everyone he takes on. He DMs you through a different account and says, "Hey, it's Todd. Do you want to do a Spawn cover?" And we all think it's a bot or something. So we're like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll cover." We go along with the joke as long as we feel comfortable. And then you sort of have to negotiate whether or not you go along with it, and then it goes on for a week, and then there's a phone call, and suddenly he's at the other end of the line.
That's so funny.
I have a feeling he does that on purpose just to get a kick out of the process.
The question I have is how many people have done that to people, but not being Todd, right? To just contact people and be like, "Hi, this is Todd McFarlane's burner account."
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll tell you, it's whoever's doing it. If it's not him, they're really good at this joke. So
Right.
it's been on for 3 years now. So.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's been really great.
So when you got that, you didn't doubt it at all or anything?
What, the call?
The call, the email?
Oh, I was pretty sarcastic on the DM. I was like, yeah, I'll do a cover for you. I'll make time for that or something. and then I think I got a call from Thomas, the editor, and he was like, hey, Don, I'm just following up on the call from Todd. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Thomas, you do that. I was like, okay, how long is this going to go on? And then he's like, he patched Todd through, and then you hear his voice, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm not prepared for this. I'm really not prepared for this call. And he's just real and personable. So it's like he made that little bit of time that I had to adjust myself to be professional and with him.
Yeah, you're like, hold on a second, let me put pants on. Oh my god.
Oh no, thank God. It wasn't through Zoom or something. It was phone. It was audio. So, and I was in pajamas, so thank God. Because it was
all right. If you haven't yet put in #EXP shoplifter, that'll qualify you for the free giveaway later on this evening. And on that note, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after this brief commercial.
FOC, a comic industry term for the final day a new comic can be ordered by a local comic shop. So, what does that mean to you? Well, it's your last chance to order a new comic book from your local comic shop. Order up! The FOC show will go over every book that's about to be cut off every Friday afternoon.
I'm going to highlight some of the stuff that I think is really worth paying attention to,
so that you can put in an order at your LCS for as many copies or as many variant covers as you want.
Sometimes the store needs to know to up their orders.
Never miss out on a popular comic again. Order up, part of the experience. Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
That'd be really great. Thanks.
Hey, thanks again for coming back to The Experience to sketch up on this Thursday evening. If you haven't yet, hit that follow button so that way we can continue to bring you our wonderful shows each week, including Nick Barucci's The Original Art Show every Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to get in on the free giveaways tonight, we are giving away 3 issues of How I Became a Shoplifter. This is written by Tom Brayfogle, put in #EXP shoplifter, and that'll get you qualified in there. All right. So before the commercial, we were talking to Don Aguillo and sharing his experience of how we got onto the doing spawn cover work. So what we learned is that when you get a call and the guy says he's Todd McFarlane, there's a good chance that he really is Todd McFarlane calling you from an anonymous account. So
safe and assume every time it's Todd McFarlane. I mean, he makes time for fans, so.
And we're also talking about like how Don and AC kind of like had to get into comics in it's kind of like a non-traditional way now because of the way how the market and the landscape has changed. And that brings us to Fang, who is also very unique in how she's kind of like getting in. Not unique as much as how she's getting in, but where she's coming from. So Fang, can you tell us more about like where you came from in China, what you were doing there, and how you're transitioning over into the U.S.?
I living in Sichuan, Chengdu. It's middle east of China.
Mm-hmm.
And what else I should say?
Okay, who are you? What kind of art were you doing then?
I doing web comic when I was in China. That's the only way you can find a job. Doing art, doing comics. Yeah, you work for company. Because of I have said the physics book is not that popular in China anymore. Most people are reading comics online through a phone. So all the comics, the quality is kind of not that good. Most of just tell some popular story, which I'm really tired of being do that kind of style of art. The only have one style is manga style. So I feel like a very struggle with to just doing robot job every day. And one time I was visit my friend at the Comic-Con in New York. I was immediately fall in love with the American market, how trade the comics. There are so many different artists. They're doing their own stuff. Yeah, that's the idea. I want to stay here for doing my own.
Did you like the art, or did you just like the comic scene?
I used to create my own style. I published 2 books in France, but it's just very short gig. There's no market for Chinese to do your own original stuff, because if you want to do something, you have to apply, or you only do underground stuff, which is there is no plan for. You have to advertise yourself or a line, but you have to very cautious about what you're making for the content. There's a lot of strict to doing things. Yeah, even bigger publisher, they have to apply a certain certificate to publishing before, because China forbidden of a lot of things, content. So for publishing, it's not free as America. Yeah.
Okay. And so here, you haven't really been in the U.S. That long yet. You've been here for a few years now, though. But what are you doing to get yourself into the comics?
Get myself into comic?
Yeah.
I doing comics so many years. You mean
for the U.S.
For the
since
U.S.
you've been here?
Because I have I see I visit the convention and see how my friends do their business. They're doing fan art and sell it for posters. So I started doing 4 years. 3 years ago when I was in Utah with my ex. Now this is my first year living in LA and try to digging out all my original stuff. That's why I self-published my first book, Butterfly Tears. Yeah, this is four love story
Very cool.
based in Chinese ancient myths, and the three of black and white story as I was creating a long time ago. Yeah, it's like oh my god, 10 or 20 years when I was 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a very long time ago. So the color part is new. I just finished last year. Yeah, which is like 130 pages,
Wow.
the whole
Okay.
book. So I crowdfunding my, yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
and
Steve, no, go ahead.
yeah, I just it's called pre-launch, my pre-launch page for my second issue of Beauty. If anyone familiar with my first one, have to keep up for the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, we can. So you can look for that. If they just go to Kickstarter and type in beauty, they'll be able to find it.
Mhm.
Okay. And Stevie B, he received your latest Kickstarter. He said he just got that today, and he says that it is a visual tour de force.
Nice.
That's how he describes it. So good for you. And Stevie B is a vigilant visitor to our show, so we're glad to have him. And thank you very much for that. Okay, so now last but not least, we also have a returning guest, Thomas Doherty, who is the editor-in-chief at Committed Comics. You also have an upcoming project, right?
Yes, so we actually have a Kickstarter that is currently live. Thankfully, it funded on the first day, so that's always great. It's for the newest issue of Nira X Dark Seas. So Bill Mouse, who's a creator, artist, writer, inker, everything on Nira X, she's been with a bunch of different publishers over the years. She's been around for almost over 30 years now. I think he started technically in like 93 or something like that. So like he old, Mel. He really old. Oh, sorry. So yeah, so he's been doing the book for a while. I was sitting next to him one year at San Diego Comic-Con in Artist Alley, and we got to talking, and it was her 25th anniversary was coming up. And he's like, I really want to put her back in print. And I'm like, oh, if only you knew a small press company that specialized in creator-owned projects who has all of your old projects at home, you know, and da-da-da. And so, yeah, so we became the newest publisher for her. So we've been doing, we got technically like the rights to print it and all the new stuff right as the pandemic hit, because that's the best time to get a brand new license to do a whole bunch of giant print run of a project that will sit in your living room forever. Yeah. And so from there we had to transition to, we had to pivot to do Kickstarters, which we had attempted in the past but didn't fund. And it was just one of those things that crowdfunding, you know, in the early 2000s wasn't, you know, the big thing that it is now. I mean, it was just very one of those just another way to do publishing, you know. And so yeah, so then once the pandemic hit, we pivoted. We started putting all the Niras every time we did a Nira project, which is roughly about, you know, one every 10 months or so. And we fund that way. And we funded this one, so it's currently going. We've got a whole bunch of cool different variant covers and a whole bunch of cool extra stuff. We've already unlocked, I think, 7 stretch goals, which is great because I'm a giant nerd myself. So like I build these campaigns like as if I was the recipient of the campaigns. So like I look at stuff and I go, okay, you know, yes, this could be a $300 tier, but I'm going to make it 120 because, you know, that's cool. And I want to, you know, I want a keychain, a metal keychain of the outline of the character, you know. Okay, yeah, we're going to do that. So, like when I actually contacted you, Mel, and Mog about, helping out on Reborn, I was like, yeah, we're going to have 3 variant covers of Mog artwork. Why? Because we can, and
that was crazy, but that was cool.
Yeah. And then Mog was like, oh, I've got these sketch cards. Do you want to do something with these? I'm like, yeah, let's throw those in there too. And these and that and this. And yeah, it just got ridiculous. So I did the same thing. So it's like right now, we've unlocked a bunch of different stretch goals. So like everyone gets a funded print, which is, a thank you very much kind of deal with everyone's name on the back. Because I like doing that. We also have, through all of the Dark Seas, which is the new miniseries that we've been doing, all the issues have a signature plate, like a little sticker that Bill signs, and we put on the retail cover. So that's also been unlocked. Everybody gets a business card size magnet, and then a 4.5-inch size sticker as well. So yeah, and a bookmark and a poker chip. Forgot about those two. Yeah. So
I got to tell you, the poker chip idea is awesome. Those things are so fun to have. They don't take up much space, and it just stands out compared to the other kind of gimmicks that you can get.
And
which
so
I love gimmicks.
We did one before on the previous issue, and it was just like a cool design, Kickstarter thing, because we also did a big metal challenge coin, which is available as an add-on, boys and girls. And so like since the mini series is pirate themed, it was basically like a bag of gold. So you got the big gold coin, you got 4 of the small, gold colored poker chips. This time, Bill wanted to do a blood red poker chip, and he's actually working it into the story. That's a key element into the story.
Great idea.
Yeah, and so now everybody gets one of those, blood red poker chips.
It connects you so much. I mean, think about how many people want to buy their own Infinity Stones or the Gauntlet or something that you're part of that story now.
Yeah, and the best part is you don't even have to buy it. We're giving it to you because I'm stupid. Right. No.
Yeah. Like I think like Brian Pugliese likes to do it like if you're a backer within the first 24 or 48 hours. You get a challenge coin.
Yeah.
So people that are part of that sworn, they flash their coins to each other. It's kind of like it gives you elite status.
Oh yeah. No. Brian is definitely somebody who I've looked at and tried to emulate. Same thing with Jamie Tyndall. Like they just have these rabid fan bases that I don't know. One, I don't know how they keep track. I mean, those guys get like thousands of people bidding on and backing their program, and I'm like, I'm freaking out when I get like 300. It's just, my head explodes. I think on the last campaign we had like 410. I was like, oh crap! It took me forever to fulfill everything.
Oh, you're still fulfilling everything by hand? You're packing everything?
Literally, it's all me.
Man.
I mean, like Jamie and Polito and Jeff Smith and Robin and Terry Moore, like they have a team. Even if it's a small team of like 3 to 4 people, they have a team. This is me after I work a 9-hour day in my day job, coming home, packing up stuff, and then taking the bus and dropping everything off at the post office because I'm stupid.
You're the team. You're it.
So, but yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's also, like I said, I want to do it like as if I'm receiving the package myself. So I try to make it very cool. Try to put as much cool stuff in there as possible. So we've. Like I said, we've got a whole bunch of freebie stuff, and then also what I've done this time around is, because I saw this on some other campaigns, as we reach another stretch goals and backer goals, it unlocks things that people can add on to their campaign. And it's just a different way to do it. So like, also we're giving away a bunch of stuff as well. so like when we hit 50 digital backers, I'm going to pull up 2 PDFs of the Committed Comics library, and that person wins that, and then same type of thing when we hit 100, 200, and 300 backers. It unlocks certain things that we just basically are either give it away or people can add it to their campaign or add it to their pledge. So, but yeah,
that's very thoughtful. As a consumer, because we were all fans first, right? That's how we get to this.
Yeah.
So
that's
putting the thing that you like into it. That's half the battle right there.
Yeah, and I know, and the best part is that I know Bill is going to deliver a product that's going to make people who are fans of 90s nostalgia, or fans of not quite bad girls in comic books, but action adventure, sexy
Yeah.
girls kicking
right.
butt. That's what he
Sure.
does. That is his MO. And so
Mhm.
I have no reservation at all turning around saying, yeah, this is going to kick ass, because that's what he does. That's the only thing he does. For God's sakes, that's the only thing he does. That's
Nice.
Let's go around the room, see what everybody has on their drawing board for the auction. And let me start with Fun first, because I kind of skipped her. Fun, what are you going to be drawing?
I
Or
already
what are you?
almost
almost-
finished the first one, Chun-Li, in my book,
Okay.
Butterfly
that's cool.
Tears.
Okay.
Yeah, hardcover
All right.
version.
Well, okay. So hardcover, Chun-Li inside the cover there. And what did you want to start that out as?
99.
$99. Okay. $99 if you want to place a
The
bid on that.
130 pages comic books.
There you go. Hardcover, 130 pages. Chun-Li on the inside page. If you want to place a bid on that, go ahead and do so in the comments. And you're going to be also working on a second one as well, right?
Yes, second one is Mulan. Yeah.
Mulan. Okay, same thing, hardcover.
Mm.
Okay, there you go.
They can choose different cover. This
Uh-huh.
one or
Okay,
this one.
all right. So if you want to get the
Maybe I
Mulan,
will draw in this one, Mulan. Yeah.
okay, so you get it. All right, so you get that. And if you want to do that, that's also going to be $99. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, let's go to AC. And you were working on a Doctor Doom.
Yeah, got a little bit of progress so far.
There you
In the
go.
face here.
Okay. We're looking
Liking-
for an opening bid on that of $50. Acrylic on black. Okay.
Yes.
And then now Don Aguillo.
I
Edward Scissorhands.
used to be terrified of live drawing like this, especially when there's involved. But when you're talking, I'm like, or when there's a conversation happening, I make less disagreements with myself. So I'm like, oh, okay, I think we can get a lot more.
Just go with the flow.
Yeah. So this has been going for like weeks.
Wow, nice.
That's very cool.
Oh, love it. Very nice.
I'm like trying
Look, he's looking for an opening bid of $150. And I'm going to tell you, if that was at the con, that's going to
Be
be double
gone.
the price. So get that bid
Yeah,
in. Somebody
for
steal
real.
that away.
Yeah.
Do you guys find live drawing thrilling? Like, is that what you guys all feel comfortable doing it all the time?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I do live drawing at convention all the time.
All
Kind
the
of
time.
frustrating.
It's nerve wracking, but then at the same time, it's like really.
Yeah, you have the talking at the same time, then keep focusing on your things. Yeah.
Let me add something to your insanity here. There's a thing that Tim Moret, who runs Rocky Mountain Con, who's my business partner, he does this event every year when they have Star Wars Day or Harry Potter Day at the Rockies Stadium for the baseball. A bunch of artists will go, and we do sketches. We do 5-minute sketches. Now, if you ever want your ego to take a hit, because what can you do in 5 minutes over and over and over? And with characters like, dude, people on Star Wars Day kept asking me for Darth Maul.
Oh,
And I'm
geez.
like, 5
No,
minutes?
that's
Come
when
on.
that's when you just tell them everybody gets a Jawa. You
I-
get a Jawa. You get a Jawa.
But this is the
I
way
drew
to like.
the sketch panel drew the Darth Maul before. I can't even finish his how to say the tattoo
There's
on
no way.
face.
Oh, no way.
Just that's you on the face.
Yeah, so
I-
she's talking about that we have at the cons, right? I actually bring the SketchUp panel live
live.
over
Nice.
there, and so the audience, can say what they want, and the artists will go. They have like 5-10 minutes, however long they want to spend on it. But I tell them, try not to take more than 5 minutes. One, so that way we can kind of get like a lot of them done.
Right, get a couple
So-
different pieces for people.
It is, but you get kind of like, they get kind of used to it after a while. So like everybody that I bring on, after they've done it like one time, they go, "Wow, this wasn't really that bad," and they want to come back again. So this past weekend at Calgary, I had Dawn McTeague. Now she's done live drawing before, but then with this one, with the panel, it's a little more personal because you're actually talking to the people in the crowd.
Right.
But she had such a good time that she's already signed up to come back and do the panel again in Denver when we get there over the 4th of July weekend.
Maybe I should fly to Denver and stand in the crowd and be like, "Yeah, I want you to do my piece, Don."
We do limit them to like
a time frame to actually do a cover together, and it's just we just keep on trains of the night,
Now the thing, but when Fong does it, when Fong is in this panel and she does, she produces the sketch there, people are actually in awe. She actually does good work within that short period of time, and her work actually stands out amongst like everybody else. So she's a pretty good artist that I like to have there because of the quality that she puts out. Everybody's trying to do their best, more. Yeah. But hers is pretty clean.
Well, Don, I think what you were talking about, like when you're doing live drawing, I think you as an artist, because I've noticed this with a tremendous amount of artists that I've worked with over the years and that kind of stuff, is everything that goes on in your head is going to be way worse than what actually is going to happen. Like you think like, oh, I'm not going to have time to finish this, or I'm not going to have time to think about the composition, and it just, so you like you said, you turn off that part of your brain while you're sitting there doing it, right? So you're not sitting there second guessing that.
Right, the judgment.
Right, and so then it becomes like, oh wow, I did this great piece, and it's like, yeah, because you already have that talent and skill inside of you, you just need to get out of your own way.
Yeah, yes. I when we started doing this, I told Mog, okay, look, you're not going to turn out your best piece in that 5 minutes. There's just no way. Right? All you got to figure out is like, what are the main things you got to get in there, so that way it looks like what it's supposed to be, and then that's it. Right. That's going to be your best in 5 minutes.
All right.
Yeah.
You prioritize.
In like 1 hour, it's going to be totally different. But for that, in 5 minutes, that's the best. And people will like it.
When Bill Mouse started off, I mean, he the reason why he can draw so quickly is because he started off as a character artist, at SeaWorld in San Diego. So he would have to sit there and draw people, and you have to do that in 5 minutes because people aren't going to be sitting there much longer than 5 minutes, while Shamu is jumping on their head. So and it's thank God he can do it that quickly, because he can also turn out pages relatively quickly as well. So as his publisher, that makes me very happy that that's his skill level.
Now, what was the craziest prompt you guys have gotten for the live ones at cons?
Okay, when I started doing this, I didn't put any like restriction on it, so we would get like these crazy ones, right? So this one was kind of cool, and this was done in Chicago, and every time we go to Chicago, that guy always, when he's there, he always brings this piece back and he shows it to us. But it's a Pikachu cosplaying as Batman sitting on the can.
Oh, nice.
Wow. You're not going to forget that.
Yeah, in color.
Yeah, no matter how hard we try, we're not going to forget that. We didn't try really hard to forget it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my God.
Very funny.
This is on your phone you'd have for that? One Pikachu, one Batman, and then 56 people on the can.
Kind of reminds me. So one of the Rockies games, we had somebody come, and my buddy Gerard Kai Huey, he's a Hawaiian artist. He's awesome. He's so talented. They asked him for a pregnant Padme Amidala with Kenobi standing behind her.
Okay.
And he's like, "We have 5 minutes. What do you want from me?" And so he got like her hairstyle. He drew a baby bump, and he put a hand. And he's like, "There, that's what you get."
See, my brain would have went just right to the bump, and like so, like basically just draw like a little rounded section and some fabric, and be like, there you go. The camera was too close. Sorry.
You prioritize. You hit the big things. Like for the Harry Potter ones, we all right. So I'm not going to call this cheating, but I'm going to say that like if you bring a sketch sheet of a couple of characters that you know you're going to get asked for, like what is a stripped down version of Voldemort that I can draw? What is a Dumbledore that gets like, you know, the glasses, the beard, the hat, wand. Everybody's got a wand. I took a metallic marker, so every wand had some little effect coming out of it, and that seemed to be like enough to make people happy. So, you know, Harry Potter, glasses, beetle cut, wand.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I heard you say stripped down Voldemort. I'm like,
what kind of show is this? You're wondering. Yeah, now you're gonna find out.
Like, you came with that reference? Wow, that is.
That just reminds me of every time I see the Ghostface killer, but you know he's got thigh highs and heels on. You ever see that? It's like underneath the robe, the legs sticking out, and it's, yeah.
He does it all in heels. Even more talented. You got to respect it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy. Somebody asks us for that. Yeah, strip down.
Strip down Voldemort. That's going to be what I take away from tonight. My first time on the show. The first time, I've got a memory.
That's your new print for the 2025 con season.
Oh yeah, that's going to be my big seller, no doubt.
AC, you're going to be at Denver for sure, right?
Oh yeah, it's my home turf. That's my favorite show. And actually, I can announce I'm going to be at every major show this year. We just got into SDCC. We're going to be at New York, so we got the next 3 lined up for us. It'll be my first time at SDCC as a pro.
Where are you
with a table?
Are you at Small Press? Or are you in Artist
Small
Alley?
Press.
Or Small Press. So I will see you there. I am in L09. So
I will be
awesome.
Small Press. I will be
Press.
Yeah, are you still in the same spot, Fang Fang? Because you're usually like kitty corner. You're like diagonally across from me usually.
My table is against the wall.
Yeah. So I'm in the alley. So I'm in L. So you're not that far away from Jeff Pena, right?
I don't know.
You're over by the bathrooms.
Oh yeah. The bathroom. See you there then.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll have a little reunion over there.
Yeah.
Don, are you going to be at Denver?
No, I haven't been to Denver in a while. I really want to return. There's always a wedding or a second wedding or.
Well, 4th of July weekend's always a rough weekend to do that because people have other stuff usually going on at that time frame.
Yeah. Especially in Denver. Denver is like, if you want to do something outdoors, you want to see some fireworks, you want to be in nature. Yep. What better place, right? So I kind of thought it was going to be a bad idea when they started, and I'm sorry to keep going on this, but like when they changed it to 4 days and took in 4th of July, I thought, are we even going to have any business? But I was wrong, man. They put it at half price for July 4th, so it was $30 to get in. Mm-hmm. We had people that were downtown for the Rockies fireworks, and we're like, hey, I got parking at noon for a 5 o'clock show. What am I going to do for 5 hours? Let's go. I made so many new fans. I made so many new connections on Instagram and Facebook just from that. I made sales. I met people that had never gone to a con before because they made it accessible.
The average person is going for 2 to 3 hours anyway. They're not going for the whole eight hours.
It's too much.
Most people are just going for 2 hours of a con and then they're gone. And so that was very smart of them to do that first time half price, and lock a bunch of people in.
Yeah,
Denver is one of our better shows. We really liked that show.
I love it.
It was a little, we thought the same thing. We weren't really sure how that was going to be, but we gave it a shot. We're pretty like old folks, so we don't really do too much for 4th of July. But it worked out.
Holiday would happen for SF Fan Expo, but like Mel knows, like it's Thanksgiving weekend, and we're like, it's a weird one. Hoping people get full and they get high on the Black Friday sale thing, and then come downtown. But it can get kind of quiet in there. But
yeah, I mean the problem with there's certain holidays that conventions can work on, and then there's other holidays like obviously Memorial Day weekend, right? Dragon Con's been occupying that footprint forever. You know, 4th of July, and now Fan Expo Denver has secured themselves in there. WonderCon seems to always does very well when it's over Easter weekend, which I always find hysterical. But Thanksgiving and Christmas, those are the two holidays. It's like, no, man, don't do it, because it's like because San Diego had that special edition. Was it last year before?
Yeah, that was over Thanksgiving, was it?
That was over Thanksgiving weekend. And I went down and I set up. I exhibited because I said, okay, do I want to spend Thanksgiving in Seattle in November? Or do I want to spend Thanksgiving in San Diego in November?
Was that post-pandemic?
Yeah, that was right after the pandemic. Yeah. Right. So they were just trying to do something. And I went down there, and I mean, I had great sales. It was a great show, but I could completely see that show was not what San Diego is supposed to be, and it was very clear that everybody understood that when they were walking through the door, which worked to my advantage, because what that meant is, hey, we're going to buy comic books. So, so that worked out really well for everybody in small press. But yeah, there's certain holidays. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I think the timing for that was right also, because people were just kind of like dying to get out. To feel that. I mean, some sense of normalcy.
Weird. Yeah, it was just
then,
weird.
So like, if they didn't do it over Thanksgiving, I would have done it.
Yeah.
But because I did feel like, what? I think this is going to be a good show. People are just like dying to get out and do something. And that was something there.
The only thing I definitely think when they have shows over holidays, and again, there's certain shows that are obviously exceptions, like Dragon Con, right? Because that is a destination convention, stuff like that. But I think because when you travel over holiday weekends, it's so expensive. I would be very interested to find out how many people who attend Denver are, attendees, not exhibitors, attendees are flying into the show. I think almost everybody who goes to that show drives in from the close surrounding areas. Like, I don't know if you're having people come down from Michigan for that show.
There's actually a few.
No, in large scale. I mean, yes, you're definitely
not in large
people.
scale.
Yeah,
but some of the people we've met are actually from Nebraska.
Okay.
The thing to remember about Denver,
kind of like interesting.
It's kind of like the center of the United States. It's the center as far as like the biggest population center. We get everybody from Kansas. We get everybody from Utah, from Oklahoma.
Right.
Like we kind of black hole them all in.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. They're able. Most of those people are probably able to drive in, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
I don't know how many of those are flying. So you're definitely getting you get a large swath of people, but it's like, how many people from New York are traveling on 4th of July weekend to go down? You're right. Like, if they moved it 2 weekends on either direction, I bet you would, with the guest list that they have, I bet you would get people who fly in further away. Like, I'm going at the end of the month. I'm going to Fan Expo Dallas in end of May, first day of June. That is a time frame where it's cheap, quote unquote, to travel and to get hotels and that kind of stuff. And so, I expect to see a lot of people from out of town because their guest list is so massive. That's going to pull people in. Whereas if it was over a holiday weekend, there's a potential that they might not come by.
So Denver is different, though. If I were traveling from New York to go to Denver on 4th of July weekend, I would be going to the mountains. I would not be going to the show.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So
there were a lot of years where C2E2 was St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Right.
In Chicago.
Oh my!
It was wild.
Here's Alex Switzer is in the comments, and he's actually one of the people that I was talking about from Nebraska. Do you drive there, Alex, or are you flying?
Well, 7 to 8 hours is easy to do. I mean, not easy, but I mean, from Seattle to Portland, Seattle to what is it? Spokane, which is Eastern Washington. That's a 5-hour drive, and people do that consistently. So
I'll do 7 to 8. Without a thought.
So
after 8, then I got to start thinking about it.
Yeah, and
right, so Alex does drive.
Even if you split it between 2 days, right, or a day and a half, right? So you drive in you know, you leave Thursday afternoon, or wait, it's 4 days, right? So it would start on Thursday now. So you leave
Yes.
Wednesday. You know, is it a full day on Thursday, or is it a late start Thursday?
I have not checked. I'm
If it's
looking
Fan
at my
Expo,
next show.
if it's Fan Expo, I have a feeling that it's a half day. That first day. Usually when they do 3 or 4 day shows, like Fan Expo Dallas, you know, the first day, I think they started their VIPs at 2:00, you know. So
yeah, I prefer on those short days that they don't go to like 9 p.m. because we do have and have had some around here where they have that sort of strange, like, well, we started at 3, so we're going to go to 9.
Right. We're getting our 7 hours in. You're like, no, don't do that. You don't have
like,
to.
I'm not sure anyone's going to be there between 8 and 9. I'm usually just hanging out with my buddies.
Yeah, Fan Expo does the same thing in Portland. Is they start at 4 and they go until 9, or I think they start at 3 and they go until 9. And you know, the last hour of the show, you're right. It's just you and the other exhibitors. You know, and we're all just hanging out.
Yeah.
No,
I think they're trying to make it. Yeah, they're just trying to appease the exhibitors at that point. You know, that's saying that okay, we're starting out late, but we're staying open later. I'd rather just cut it short.
Well, most of Artist Alley actually, most of Artist Alley leaves at like 7 because we're just like we need to get food. You know, like
we need to get food.
People in Artist Alley, we're not smart enough to
eat
eat
rejuvenate for the next day.
Yes, exactly.
So a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But let's see. You talking about Nebraska? There's a new show that's starting up in. I think it's going to be in Omaha. Alex can correct me about that or not, but it's being started by the same guys that started up Emerald City, Rose City, and what was it? Vancouver Expo. Have you guys heard about that?
So those are 3 different companies, Mel.
Well, from what I understand, these guys were maybe maybe partnerships. They got together or something, but they're saying that they were responsible for starting all 3.
So they definitely weren't, unless there's one exception to that rule. If it's Jim Demonakis starting it up, then it's potential because he started Emerald City here in Seattle. He was the one who formed a partnership with Rose City with Emerald City. They kind of were symbiotic together, and he worked for Reed Pop for a couple of years.
Okay.
So, but the funny thing is so like Reed Pop is the one who owns Emerald City now and stuff like that, right? So, and they own C2E2 in New York and that kind of stuff. And then, but he never did any collaboration, as far as my memory serves me, with Fan Expo. So, you know, which is the Vancouver show. So
I thought no, wasn't Vancouver? Didn't that start off as like Vancouver Expo instead of?
So it might have been an independent show at one point that was purchased by Fan Expo. I'm not 100% sure. As far as I've always known it, it's always been Fan Expo / Wizard, right? Because I think it was originally one of the Wizard World shows, very similar to Portland, that Fan Expo acquired Wizard and then took over the shows. So, but no, I mean, you know, the funny thing is, so I just got done with. Not just got done. It was a couple months ago now. Planet Comic-Con out in Kansas City.
Right.
That show is incredible. It's run by an amazing team of people who know what they're doing. They just really cater very heavily to comic books, which is really nice. You know, and the fan base out there is huge for comic books, as well as the media side of it, right? So they have these giant guests, you know, giant comic book guests, giant media guests. And they just, I want to say they had like 75,000 people, 80,000 people this year just go through over a 4-day or 3-day period.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it's huge.
That's a good size.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. And, you know, they get people from all over because, again, much like you're saying with Denver, it's very much a hub, right? It's a centralized hub. So people are coming from all over the place, you know, to Kansas City. And so, yeah, so I mean, it's just, there's definitely that area I think could use a couple more shows. I know the people of Kansas, Planet Comic-Con, they also do an anime show, Planet Comic-Con anime that they do. And I think that's coming up. I think they have that after usually. Can't remember if it's before or after. I think it's before their standard show. So, but yeah, I mean that whole area is very underutilized in my opinion. You know, it's just finding the right location as well as the right balance of media, comics, and fandom. You know,
right. Getting a feel of like what the people want there.
Yeah,
and it goes vice versa too, because for me, I have to feel like what kind of show is it? Is it geared towards more celebrity and not so much comic creatives? You know, then that's a show that I may not want to do. So yeah, as they get a feel, we get a feel to it as well. I've heard a lot of good things about Planet Comic Con. Very, very few negatives about it, but a majority has been overwhelmingly.
Yeah, I mean, there's always people. You know, there's always going to be people who don't have good shows. I mean, I've done Planet now, I think for 6 years, maybe 7, and I think I had 2, you know, tortoiseshells. Definitely, you know, I had 2 lumps in my head 2 years, you know, but they weren't in a row, thankfully, right? But it's like, and it was funny because one year is the year I went all out. I got a corner table in Artist Alley. I had definitely double the space. You know, I brought 4 times the merchandise, and I literally made like 1/8 of the amount I normally do.
Ugh.
And I was like, oh, that was painful, but good to know that I only need 6 feet.
Well, kind of along those lines, what do you guys think of a next year's lineup with all the shows being clumped in March?
You're talking about let's see, that was
3
MegaCon, C2E2, and what was the other one? Was it
I don't
Planet?
remember. I think it was.
But
Planet,
I know it was 3 good sized shows, and that just makes the shows probably by themselves are going to do well because they're pretty. They've got a good distance between themselves.
Yeah, so
but it's going to be hard.
March.
It's going to be hard for the creatives to decide what show they're going to do.
Yeah,
and it's tough because if that's 3 shows that they normally do, then they're going to be losing income from the other 2 that they can't do.
Exactly,
and that's where it hurts.
Yeah.
So
MegaCon is the weekend before Planet.
Before, yep.
And then Planet, and then you said the other one might have been
C2E2.
C2E2.
And there's one other one. There were 3 major shows.
There's 3 shows at that same weekend.
Oh wow!
So if you make your living, you only get to go to 2 shows.
It looks like Planet and C2 are on the exact same weekend.
Thanks.
MegaCon is the weekend before.
Right.
When is Emerald City? Because that's usually around that time frame too. I mean, they wouldn't do it the same weekend just because it's that team from Reed.
Right.
But yeah,
they're saying WonderCon, C2E2, and Planet maybe?
Oh, WonderCon. Okay, yeah. I could see WonderCon doing that weekend. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was one of the 3 because I don't put WonderCon as at the top with the other 2.
Yeah, so Emerald City is the first weekend of March next year. So it's Emerald City, Planet, C2E2, same weekend, and then.
So is Emerald City the same weekend as MegaCon in Florida then?
No, MegaCon's the weekend the weekend right afterwards. So it goes Emerald City, MegaCon, Planet,
and then the 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Tim and I are already planning. We're going to go to MegaCon, and we're just going to stay in Florida and go to Chicago from there because, for the price of a flight at that point, and Southwest is no longer doing the unlimited
free
bags.
right.
Free bags.
Yeah, so it's WonderCon, C2E2, and Planet are the exact same weekend, and then you've got Emerald City 2 weekends before, and then the weekend in between is MegaCon. So that's nutty. That's crazy. Yeah. But all I know is that I will be in Planet because I don't like Reed Pop, and I'm not a huge fan of where they stick Small Press and WonderCon. So
yeah,
I don't got to worry about that. But yeah, that'll be an interesting weekend. Although I've been wanting to go to C2E2 for years, but I guess I'm not going next year.
It is a fun show. It is definitely a fun show. I love that.
Well, the fun show that I do is, the show I do for fun is Emerald City because of the fact that's my home show. But they have priced themselves out of my comfort zone, so I will not be doing that show. unless I get into Artist Alley, which is a possibility since I'm now writing the book. So, James is happy about the cluster pile of shows because he goes, if that's the case, I might get off the wait list for C2E2.
But the thing is that when ReedPop gets into a jam like that, right? Because this is not the first time, right?
Right.
They tend to beef up their lineup, right? So I don't know, James, if that's what you may want to do is to pull out.
Well, James, you should actually, in all seriousness, with his art, because I know his art very well. I'm friendly with him. He's in my neighborhood. Planet is the show that you want to be at, in my opinion. Planet Comic-Con.
I do like changing things up too, so I don't know. I've done C2E2 for 2 years now.
Changing stuff up though, Mel, is that these shows are so territorial now, right?
Yeah.
That if you're not there every year,
I know
you don't come back.
I know.
And
then all of a sudden they're not accepting you in because you went somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that happening. A lot of people are complaining, why can't I get back into ReedPop shows?
Yeah,
and I don't
know. They're having a similar type of thing right now with Salt Lake, which again, thankfully, I will be there, and I'm actually dragging Bill to that show with me. Bill Mouse will actually be at that show as well.
I've been trying to get into that show.
Have you guys? Yeah,
I've been for a few years now. Yeah,
I'll reach out to their guest coordinator and see if they'll guest Mog in. Okay. But it's they're running into an issue right now because I guess the convention center where they have it, Salt Palace, they just sold 6.5 acres back to the city for an entertainment development area. So I don't know if that's their parking lot or if that's the surrounding area. But they're also doing a whole bunch of construction in the city this year, and they're doing a construction on one of the halls. So it's just a total cluster.
Wow.
That September is just going to be a very painful.
And we know what happens when they have that kind of thing happen. We know that the numbers drop.
Yeah.
And we've seen that many times over the years. So something to think about.
It's crazy for me to say this and knock on wood that it actually pans out the way I want it to pan out. But Salt Lake has been so good to Committed Comics as a whole. If the numbers drop, I'm okay with it for a year. It's how well those Mormons love their sexy comic book girls. I can't ever thank them enough.
Oh man, if this was private, that could open up so many things there. We'll have to continue that later.
Yeah, again, that show, and they have much like Planet, and on kind of also what ReedPop does as well. Like Salt Lake has an amazing media guest list, but they have these giant names show up, but it never seems to fully pull everybody away from the other side of the hall. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there are certain shows, like Emerald City is very much like that. Is they'll get certain guests there and they'll pull all the air out of the room. And so for hours, it is not what it should be. And so but thankfully Salt Lake and Planet, they bring in these guests, but they never suck all the air out of the room, which is good. So I see Steve's comment in there. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Next year's convention scene is going to be just really weird. I don't know. Everything's an opportunity, though, right?
But every year, I mean, I hate to say it, there's only, at least for me and for my company and that kind of stuff, the only show that's ever really been solidly consistent that I don't have to worry about the time frame, because it never seems to shift much, is San Diego, right? San Diego is always end of July, beginning of August, and I know it's going to do gangbuster numbers because they have 140,000 people showing up throughout all 5 days. Like there's like when you deal in those numbers, which ReedPop in New York will try to say that they're larger, but it's like, no guys, you're not. It's a different vibe, And I was just at New York this past year, and it was a great show. I had a lot of fun. I went as an attendee. I didn't try to set up or anything like that. But by no means was there, 80,000 people there on Saturday. People sit there and argue with me all day long, but it's like, no, I know what 80,000 people feels like. I know what 100,000 people feel like. That was not that.
Where were you in New York?
Where was I set up? I wasn't set up. I was just goofing off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my home base table was in between the exhibit hall and where the low ceiling is. Chris Bauer with Muse Tap, and where James Mulligan was at. I was kind of hanging out with those guys as my home base, but I was also running around all weekend in Artist Alley all weekend and that kind of stuff. But and don't get me wrong, it was packed. It was definitely a packed show, and Artist Alley was definitely packed. And there was a ton of people out in the not veranda, what is it, like the mezzanine level, I guess technically, right, where the food is and that kind of stuff. And there was a ton of people outside, but it's also Manhattan. I used to live in New York. There's always a ton of people outside, in Manhattan. Like that. Like, it was so funny. You left the Javits Center, you went a half a block, you couldn't tell that the convention was there because that's just Manhattan. Like, go now to the Javits Center in that area. It's exactly the same amount of people because you have 5 million people on that island. In a 3.5 square mile radius or something stupid like that, it's like, yeah, it just feels that way,
All right, we're going to get ready to go on break, but before we do, let's take a look at what our artist has on the drawing board.
That's right.
Starting with AC, who's working on a Dr. Doom. Still looking for an opening bid of 50 on there.
That looks good.
Dang!
I love the negative space work on that.
That's going.
Oh man, I love working on black. It lets you really focus on the light. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you work
happy
on
with the markers.
Tonal paper, things tend to pop. That looks really sweet.
So is the ink drying well? Is it workable?
So I gotta say, for whatever their formula is on this, it blends really well, and you can kind of see this feels a little metallic. So those tend to be a little wetter anyway, so that it doesn't stick. But they're blending pretty good when they overlap on each other, and it is very quick drying. I'm such a klutz. I'll usually put the heel of my hand right over stuff that I've done.
Yeah,
and it hasn't affected me yet on this one. So I gotta say, whatever. I'm not like doing a plug here, but Cougart acrylic markers. I'll probably buy some more of them. They're.
You said they're over on. You got those from Amazon?
Yeah, very economical. It was like $20 for 40 markers, which that's half as much as Sharpie.
Sharpie,
and Sharpies are good. Sharpies are way quick drying. That's the benefit of those versus Posca. But Posca tends to be a little more vibrant to me.
Yeah.
But
what kind of
Oh, sorry. What?
What are you drawing on? What's the blackboard?
We got some heavyweight Bristol. This is made by B Paper, Aquabee. So
nice.
I like to use gouache on black paper because you can kind of build up your tones and really kind of go soft with it and only get as bright as you want. This stuff is pretty vibrant though, and very opaque. So much more like a heavy based acrylic than it would be like gouache, like some of the markers that don't necessarily have that opacity to it. I mean, I think I'm doing this right so that you're not getting too much reflection on it.
Yeah, no,
it looks great from here.
Yeah.
that is popping. Let's take a look at Don's piece, the Edward Scissorhands. That was already looking.
I already want to buy it myself, man.
I know.
I know.
Oh, gorgeous! Gorgeous.
He
looks just like he could be the lead singer of the Cure. I love it.
Tonight.
He's kind of cover girl.
Okay.
So
we
Don,
are looking for a bid of 150 on that. You do have a bid on your spawn from the lieutenant for I believe it's 100.
150.
150.
150 on the spawn is what you got. Nice. So that's good to go. Fang. Let's see what you have. You also have a bid on your
Chun Li.
You have a bid of $100 on your Chun Li already.
Yay!
From Micah Asbill, so that's good.
Yeah, nice.
And There's a good one right there. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
And
So
one.
Oh, it looks like Doom's got a bid too now.
Hey, all right. I guess it turned out okay. It's going to pay for the materials right there.
Yeah.
and then if you haven't yet, make sure you put in # EXP Shoplifter. That'll qualify you to have a chance to win these 3 comic books written by Tom Brayfogle.
Nice.
Nice.
And make sure you hit that follow button so
Yeah, I
we can
got
continue to bring you these wonderful shows every week, like our show.
Yeah.
Okay,
I gotta
we're
find
having
that
such a
83.
good time here. You know what, guys? We're gonna skip the break
What?
and just continue on.
All
I
right.
know. I know more pressure for you to perform in front of the
Right.
camera.
Dance, monkey, dance. So, Don, I got a question. When you were showing the Edward Scissorhands, I noticed that you had it taped off and there was another piece. So do you always have 2 pieces on your board that you're working on, kind of to switch off depending on how you feel?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys do it this way too. Like, do you draw on top of drawing for work? Because people don't understand that sometimes. They're like, "What do you do when you got to get away from drawing?" I'm like, "I draw fun." They're like, "What is that?" No, you got to get away from drawing. I'm like, that's actually not how my head works. I don't know if that's for everyone else, but like,
So I know a lot of artists that's how they work, right? So like they'll do a passion project or a passion piece, which is kind of like what you're talking about, right? Like you're doing the Edward Scissorhands for fun / retail, but it's not a gig, you know.
right, yeah.
And but then I also know people who, you know, when they need to recharge, they have to literally be like a battery and just leave the board altogether, you know, and walk away, and then they get revitalized and then they're able to come back. And you know, but the people I know who work that way, they're the ones who will do a 9 to 11 hours at the board. They won't move.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, so like when they get up and they leave, they're leaving for like a day and a half.
Yeah, they gotta go.
But then they come back and they'll literally pull, you know, and most of the people who I know who are doing that, or they're doing interior pages, you know, so then they'll rip through pages. Oh, look at that. Look at there's the Chun Li.
Hey, that's awesome.
Let's okay. Let's go through
bid.
all the artwork that everybody brought, because there's actually several people that are asking.
Okay.
Right, so that's the Chun Li there that already has a bid of 100.
Bid.
And then go ahead and show your Mulan again, Fong.
Yes, Mulan.
Okay, and this one we're still looking for a bid of
She's so adorable.
99 on that. And then let's go back to AC. Let's see if what we'll do is we'll go through this artwork kind of quickly, and then we'll do the giveaway. Okay, there's Goliath, and we're looking for an opening bid of 175 on that. The Carnage, looking for 300 on that.
And that's 11 by 17, right?
11 by 17. It will come in a top
17.
loader because I don't trust the mail. We've all been burned, man.
That's a good deal right there.
That one was screaming Marvel masterpieces. That was nice.
Yeah.
And this is
thank you for that.
Selena Kyle.
So this is Selena Kyle looking for 350 on this one.
Selena Kyle.
Okay, this is the one you said this was a favorite at the gallery that you had it in.
Yeah, Ink Comic Gallery, Comic and Art
There you
Gallery. Yes, and they're great supporters. Tim Bentley puts a lot of local guys up. He gave Joe a show as well, and you know, gets a lot of people familiar with it. And people who are coming down to see fine art on first Friday of the month, which is you know, our art night in Denver, they get to see fine comic art as well and get that same degree of attention and respectability to it that you know, we're always so hungry for and never quite seem to get. But you know, we try, and Tim tries very hard for us.
Yeah.
I know a lot of good Tims in my life. Take care of me in the comic industry, so
Nice,
good stuff.
All right, Don, let's take a look at your 2 pieces. You have a Harlequin. We're looking for 150 on that.
And what size is that one, Don? And the Spawn, what size is the Spawn and the Harlequin?
The actual artwork is at a 5x7.
Okay.
In an 8x10 matte.
Matte, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's see the Spawn.
And remember, guys, you also get the very cool mat that he did. So that's 2 pieces of artwork for the price of 1.
There you
Just
go.
saying.
Yeah.
That already
Nice.
has a bid of 150, so we're looking for the next bid on that.
Ooh,
If you want
gorgeous
to
stuff.
do any of that, just go ahead and place your bids in the comments, and we will have you fill out a form later if you are the winner. Okay. All right, now let's go ahead and let's do this free giveaway, and let's see who's gonna take these babies away. All right, I am still behind on shipping everything out, but I will be working on that in the next few days. Let's go ahead and roll that out. Let's see who our winner is.
Oh, it's that guy right there.
Oh, the suspense.
Chris,
Hey, congrats,
McCall
Chris.
wins that.
Good job, Chris.
Well done, well done. And like I
Congrats.
said, once the link goes up, go ahead and fill out that form, and I will send this out personally to you.
And it's a very good comic series because I've got issues 1 and 2. It's very entertaining. The artwork's beautiful on it. And now apparently I have to find the 3rd issue. So thanks for that, Mel. Jeez.
Yeah. Now the thing is, there's a different art team on every issue, but it seems to be getting better. I mean, the art in the first issue is pretty good, and as it progresses, it actually, I believe, it gets better. So, but it's a different art team on each one, but it's also an interesting read. I think you're gonna like it.
No, it's a good read. Yeah.
What a cool way to get other people aware of this book and to check it out. And
Yeah.
everyone who didn't win is going to want to check it out now because, I mean, I do.
Oh yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. I had let's see, we got 110 on the Chun-Li now.
There's a fight over Chun-Li.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
appropriate.
I know. I didn't even think about that until just now. Yeah.
Michael. Okay.
So
Trying to log that down now because I don't, or else I end up watching the whole thing all over again.
you gotta watch it in 2 times speed. You know, that way we all sound like chipmunks.
Yeah. So I gotta ask you guys, what are your tips for self-care for artists? Like, I have an alarm clock now, it goes off every hour. I'm 49, man. I've had tendonitis that took my arm out for 8 months. You know, I stretch, I ice that baby. I make sure I get enough sleep. I, do exercises to work on the reverse part of the grip because we always work on this, but the opposing muscles rarely get the same amount of effort. So, what's something that you guys can think of that maybe other people, a tip you could give somebody for keeping their hand in good repair?
Before we get to that,
Oh, sorry.
can we see that carnage again? Ilya is
Oh,
asking to see
absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all acrylic. It's acrylic with a little bit of gouache in there just to get some of the softer tones. It is on comic paper. You can kind of see the blue line in the corner there.
There you go.
But, it is 11 by 17. It's a standard size. You can get these frames even at Walmart. That's how common they are.
There you go.
Yeah. It's got a lot
Ilya
of
looking hard.
Yeah.
Ilya looking hard. I still have your Snoopy, Ilya. I will be mailing that out soon. Yeah, but to answer that question, does anybody have any possible?
I just get
answers
other
for that?
people to draw the stuff that I need. No,
Well,
He's not
when you hold your
That's it.
pencil, AC, do you hold your pencils tight?
I used to, and I can even, one of these days I'll show you the drawing that gave me tendonitis the night that killed my arm. I was drawing this woman made out of like a bunch of tree roots, and I was drawing every vine that came out of it. And I used to have such a death grip because that was how I could keep my control. And now I just, if a line isn't perfect, I just go over it, but I go over it softly. I try to draw they say from the shoulder. My compromise is the elbow,
Right.
so I still need some stability. I've seen Eric Larson who draws like this. I can't quite do
well,
that.
he draws like this. He
Yeah,
draws upside
yeah.
down, so which is amazing. But so are you inking your own stuff as well, or are you going?
So here's what I do. I like pencil, I like traditional, and I'll always use the paper to get my original started off because also it's hard to sell original digitals, right?
Right.
So I start there, but I like inking digitally now. So I will
Okay.
ink my own stuff, and I have the biggest, fattest rubber grip on my Apple Pencil
Okay.
to give myself a nice, instead of super tight grip like
Tidy,
this.
right?
It's,
Open it up a little bit.
yeah, and that
So
helps a lot.
I was gonna suggest if you were inking it yourself, depending on your comfort level, switching between a brush and a nib, a brush and a pen, right? Like that's one way to kind of change up how your hand reacts as you're sitting there drawing. The other thing which you could do with your traditional pencils is doing the same type of thing, using a blue line as well as a standard lead, because the blue line, you don't have to put as much pressure on it to get those lines, and it'll allow you to do more gestures instead of detail. And then what you can actually do is tighten it up with the digital inking, because you have that ability to manipulate a little bit more than you would with traditional inks.
Absolutely right, man. It's actually inking that drove me to watercolor, which is why I like that so much, because it can be a lot softer. You got to be gentle with it. If you try to scrub that thing, you're going to destroy your materials. So you have to. It forces you to be a little more gentle, a little more loose. And I've kind of trained myself with watercolor
and to be a little bit more deliberate with your lines, right? Like you have to pay more attention what you're doing, and again, for the series that I'm actually writing, which I got to finish issue 2 because, dear Lord, like I am not a writer, so trying to script my own comic book is painful as hell,
Yeah,
so,
I know that struggle, man.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's just, it's one of those kind of things that digital. My artist on the series is digital, right? And so I'm very happy with the final outcome. And again, as a publisher, that's all I really care about, right? Is my final piece. With that said, there are a couple pages where I would have killed to have those pencils in my office, right? Like, like you said, they don't exist, if people are doing all digital, and so that really does just like bring it down,
All right, fine. Let's see the Mulan again. Let's show Mike what that Mulan looks like. Can you see that, Mike?
I love how the dark is behind her and leaves the line work nice and clean in the foreground.
Yeah,
great effect.
Yeah,
and that's why she's a favorite at the SketchUp panels that we do live. People see that work and go, "Oh yeah, I want to get one by her."
I even leave the pencil on it. I never erased it.
Yeah, what it does, it leaves layers to it. Like, it looks like there's two different layers to the piece where, clearly
it has a nice effect.
Yeah. So, but
that's like last time I drew the Dustmore, I just leave the pencil part for the tattoo, but I didn't ink that.
You never got that far.
Yeah, I never got to ink.
That is enough to get a bid from Mike on your Mulan.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, Darth Maul is a tall order for a sketch. Come on. He is unreasonable. I love him more than any other Star Wars character, but man, that is unreasonable.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one of my good friends who does a ton of work, for sketch cards and that kind of stuff, and he lives in the Bronx, and so he can actually take the train down to Tops's office, in Manhattan, and they always contact him last minute, to do like 50 cards, last minute, and so because they don't have to mail anything out, right? He can take the subway down, pick up the actual boards, go back, do the cards, come back the next day. And he always jokes around saying that, anytime you see a ton of Jawas in a sketch card series, ton of Jawas and Stormtroopers, they're all his. Because when they give him, 30 cards to do in 24 hours, that's all you're getting. It's a whole bunch of Jawas.
Dude, Ewoks are a good cheat too, because if you can get like the fuzzy strokes, you just get like Little Hood, you get a stick, and Teddy Bear.
I should mention that to him, and also Sand People. I bet he's perfected the Tusken Raiders now too. So yeah.
Dude.
Are you guys?
All right. Next week is we're having a special episode. It's going to be the very first time we're going to have ladies' night on SketchUp, and actually, Fong will be there for that, along with Mog, and then we will also have two new artists that are going to be new to the show. Sophie Su Yi, I think is her name, and Sean E. Russell. All right, so stay tuned next week on SketchUp, Ladies Night. I'll probably be in the comments, and somebody's got to help direct us a little bit. But it's
Mom's going to be running the show?
Mog will be part of the show. Mog's has to be there. She's the host of the show.
I was going to say, she's going to be driving that bus? Yeah. Oh, dear Lord.
So, yeah, 4 ladies coming out all next week.
That's very cool.
Right, so you're going to want to check that out. Again, we're bringing in some different type of artwork as well. So you definitely want to get in on this and see what they have going on. Okay. That's what we have next week. All right, so we've got about 7 minutes left. Let's start closing it down, bring it down a little bit. Tell us where everybody can find you, how they can find you on social media, and where you'll be in the next few months as far as appearances in the show. Starting with you, AC.
Thanks. On Instagram, look for Argentum_Eternum, or if you want something easier to spell, go to Shadow and Vice. It's my comic, and it will link you to everything else. I did not think that went through very well when I started. I thought it was cool. It was a mistake. On Facebook, Artwork by AC or Silver Page LLC. Let's see where I will be coming up. I've got a horror comic book with Michael Blickley coming out this Halloween. My next few shows are the Comic Collector Showcase run by Tim Moret. It's a Rocky Mountain Con at the end of May. I will be at Denver Fan Expo. I will be at New York. I will be at SDCC, and I will have more Shadow and Vice coming out before then. We're going to do a remix version of it because the art is 7 years old, and I can't look at it without going, I can do a little better now. So we're going to do a remastered edition. That's going to come out, take a little bit of the stress off me every time I open my book and go, you know what, it was great for the time, but 7 years later, if you haven't grown, what have you been doing, right? What was the other question? I'm sorry, Mel.
Just like, where they can find you on social media and where you're going to be in the next few months. I think you got it covered.
Yeah, okay. AC Canales, you'll find me on any of those.
Okay. And Don Aguillo, can you hear me?
Yeah, Don is muted.
Okay.
So I think
let's go to Tom.
So, well, you can find me. Let me see. Oh, there we go. On Instagram at committed.comics. Because, yeah, again, I didn't think to actually. Well, let me rephrase that. I did get Committed Comics, and then somebody else was running our social media, and I never got it back from them. So it's committed.comics. We will be at Fan Expo Dallas, May 29th through June 1st. And then we will be at Washington State SummerCon, which is June, I want to say 19th through the 22nd, 21st, in that time frame in June, where I'll be there with, and James Doppelhanger will be there with me, who was in the chat tonight. He's setting up at that show. And then San Diego Comic-Con in July, which, again, I love that show and I hate that show all in the exact same breath. AC, when you get down there this year and you get to experience it, you will understand. And you will not, I tell this to every single person who's done other shows. It's nothing like any other show. It because of the fact that every other show is there for the retail. San Diego is there for the experience. And you can do exceptional retail there, but it just is, it's a different experience itself. So,
AC, how much is shipping for Carnage? He wants to know. He's out in New Jersey.
You know what? Let's say $12, and if it's over that, I'll cover it.
There you go. Yeah, that's a good deal.
Yeah. And then the last little bit is we've got the Nera X Kickstarter, Dark Seas #3, going on right now on Kickstarter. It's already funded, so whatever you pick out for your reward, you will be getting it. I will be putting it into little boxes with stuff and freebie stuff and other things, and yeah. So
I'll have to get on there. I want that coin.
Yeah, we have a couple different ones. Yeah, we also have like a whole bunch of ridiculous stuff. We have a mouse pad with boobs. We have the booby mouse pads. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. It was one of those things. I said to Bill when we started the campaigns, I'm like, what kind of rewards do you want? He's like, well, back in the 90s, everybody, we all wanted those booby mouse pads, but the manufacturing was so difficult. And I'm like, hold my beer, I got a guy. And so we now have I think this is our 5th one we're doing for this campaign, and it's probably the last one we will do, for a while.
5th one? So, that's 10 boobs.
Yeah. No, I take that back. 4 boobs, 1 butt. So,
a bargain at that price.
Yeah, exactly. So look up Near X on Kickstarter. So
your show is running right now.
The Kickstarter, yeah, the Kickstarter is going right now.
Maybe we can do cross promote.
Yeah.
I just opened a pre-launch page right now today. Yeah, my second issue.
I will send you a message there. Okay.
Well, how can they find that, Fung? How can they find that? How can they find you? And where else are you on social media?
I'm on Instagram, Fun Comics, or Ili Fan, YILI.FANG. Yeah, both can find me. And my second issue of Beauty now it's pre-launch. Open the pre-launch page right now on Kickstarter. Everyone know my beauty comic. Go check it out. My comics, my passion work.
Right.
Yeah.
So once again, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. It's a great show tonight. There was a lot of giggles here. For Mog, you can find her this weekend at the Comic Bug. She'll be at the Manhattan Beach on Saturday and at the Culver City location on Sunday. Her upcoming shows, Phoenix Fan Fusion, I think that's in the first week of June. Fung will be there with us. I will have the live SketchUp panel along with 4 other artists, local artists from the area. So if you're in that area, come and check us out. After that, we're heading out to Heroes Con. That's another big con for us because we participate in the drink and draw Friday night, and we're planning to put in a special piece for the live auction that they'll have there on Saturday. After that, it's Denver, and 4-day show. A lot of stuff going on there as well. If you haven't been to any of the Fan Expo shows, the event that is really, really, really kicking it up is Comic Explosion. And you want to check that out, where you'll see artists, they will paint for 1 hour, and then you get to bid on that work after. Great event to check out. A lot of fine artists that participate in that. Mog will be in that one as well. All right, so once again, stay tuned next week, Thursday, when we have Ladies Night, okay? And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
See you next week.
Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.